Welcome back to the Subspace Games YouTube channel. I've been away for a while. Definitely been busy, and if you've been following my blog, you've seen a couple of my posts. Today, what I want to go over is the fact that I was trying to do some code, some development with specifically around some HUD elements that I was going to add, some things to the UI, basically to allow us to rotate our objects. And it was getting difficult to work with the code because I hadn't been documenting it along the way, and things were just getting kind of messy. There was a lot of extra stuff in there. I needed to do some optimization and whatnot. And I know that I've mentioned that in a couple of videos that I was going to go back and do it, so I finally went and did it. It took me a couple of hours. I think the lesson to be learned is that it's better to do this as you go than to try and go back and clean up after yourself afterward. So I'm going to do my best moving forward to keep everything in line. So this is a little bit different from what I normally do. Normally I go in and show you guys what I'm doing as I'm doing it. This is a whole lot of work, and so I'm not going to put you through that. A lot of it is stuff that we've already seen the code, so it's not a huge deal. I just kind of moved it around, straightened it up. So I'm just going to show you briefly what I did. Basically, as you notice over here in the AimCam AI, which is kind of our main AI, it represents our player in a sense. I added a whole bunch of new variables. So there's stuff like NDEF linear dampening, which means default linear dampening or damping, N ray length, N start X, N start Y, N start Z. Basically, when I was going through my code, anytime I found a constant value that was in the code somewhere, I created a variable for it so that I could have it all within a variable, and I'll even take some of that and put it into that XML settings file so that after the game is completed and done as an executable, then we'll be able to make some changes as we do testing and not have to go back and recompile every time I make a change. Anyways, so that's that. As you'll notice, as I'm going through some of these functions, I also came in here and I did a lot of documentation, or added comments. So some of these smaller ones, it's not a big deal. I also updated like the author and the description for everything, especially as we get down to some of the bigger functions here, or event handlers. I really try to clean things up. Some of those functions that I had created that we didn't really use before, like we had set crosshair visibility. I created set cursor visibility as well to make things a little bit easier. There were also places where I had this function for aiming and for editing that was a Boolean function that would tell me whether or not I'm in certain modes. I hadn't gone and replaced all those references in the code, so that's all done. So, and kind of in return for not going through all this line by line and showing you everything that I've done, I've also made a change in the way that I'm going to be doing my code, and hopefully this will make it a little bit easier for you guys to follow along. So whenever I get done doing a video, I've created a GitHub repository, and it's a little difficult to do it this way in GitHub just because the code exists here in the editor. What I do is I have to copy and paste it out into another editor so I can save it as a Lua file. These files don't exist as Lua files. If you look at the directory structure, they're like .aim or something, and they're basically these script files. Also, because these variables over here don't exist in code anywhere, they're just things that are added into the AI. They don't exist. So when you look at the code, all you get is the code that's here, and you'll get references like this .ball in play. We know that that refers to something that's over here as a variable or as a function or something, but you're not going to necessarily see it. So it's a little bit of a pain in that way, but I think it'll help out overall. So let me show you what I've got here. So here's my GitHub repository. I just called it Radioactive for the name of the game. and you'll see that I've broken it down into the different AIs. So like the AimCam AI, I just copy and pasted all the functions into one big long file. So here's the center mouse function with all the comments and everything. There's the editing function, on inner frame. So everything's in here. So if you want to go in and check out the code and you want to do some more in-depth look at what's going on and be able to follow along, then you can. Now, to make that a little bit easier to get to, hopefully you guys are familiar with my website at, come on, subspacegames.com. I've added some things at the top here. If you weren't familiar with how this works before, we basically have the forums, or the forum, and this is where we're doing things like, here's my bug reports for the game prototype, here's some feedback if you don't like the design. So we've got a couple of members here. There's only 4 of us at the moment, but I've already gotten some good feedback, and I haven't mentioned this in a while, but anybody that goes in and does some bug reports and feedback and everything on the game prototyping is going to get a mention in the credits on the game when it's finalized and put onto the different mobile platforms. So you'll have an entry on the credits. So there's a bit of an incentive. I don't, for some people it's a big deal, for others it's not, but whatever. There's also this link here that'll take you to the game prototype. You can actually play this online in the browser, so you can see how the game works, as it stands right now. You can kind of test things out and see if you like it, and this is a good way to go ahead and go in and leave some feedback. What do you like? Obviously there's big holes and stuff and things. Just keep in mind that we're at the prototype stage, so I'm not too concerned about the way the levels actually look. We're worried more about the game functionality. If you're here in the game, just keep in mind down here at the bottom it says, press escape key to quit or F3 to restart. So there's some, handy controls there. Then there's also a link here that I provided for the code at GitHub. So this just takes you to my GitHub repository. And I'm going to keep this up to date as we do videos, like I said. And then there's also some links. I haven't updated these in a while, but they're just links that I have found for game development and whatnot. I use this through my Xmarks account, so you're seeing the links that come directly out of my, if I go to the bookmarks in my browser, where did I link that out of? Public, there we go. So it's just linked straight out of here. As I drag and drop bookmarks into here, it sticks it right here on my web page. So it's kind of a cool little function or feature of Xmarks. If you've never seen that before, it's pretty handy. But that's about it. So, I encourage you to go in, take a look at the code, look at some of the changes that have been made, and hopefully it's a little bit easier to follow. Things look a little bit better. Jump into the forums, go play the game a little bit. I've got lots of advertisements on here. Feel free to click them. It's nice to have some support every once in a while. So just, come check out the site, check out the new features. And now that I've got my code cleaned up, we're going to be forging ahead with some of the other things that I want to do. And hopefully you'll stick around and we'll move forward. Talk to you later.